Right, welcome back to our third clip in the 4-clip series on the different emotions that we seem to be going through at this very, very strange time in history. Life has changed for everyone in some format or other. For some people, it's actually for the better. They've really enjoyed this time. And for others, it's really been really hard and difficult and facing many, many changes and losses. Change is the only constant in life besides death. We are never the same. We are constantly evolving and growing. No life stage lasts forever. And our partners and our children are also changing. So if you can see change as not something to be feared, but something to be embraced, it changes one's attitude. COVID-19 has brought many changes into the world, our country, our homes, our society, and our lives. Some losses have been financial, some losses have been physical losses, possibly a job, possibly a person, possibly the fact that we have no freedom or had little freedom. They can be emotional losses, absence of friends, school, work, and touch has been a huge loss for people who live alone. We've had the loss of hobbies, support systems, socially different situations and ways of getting together. Life has changed. And with these losses, we have to recognize there are different stages of grieving. So loss, not necessarily of a life, entails grieving what we have lost. There are very well-known stages for grieving that were developed by Dr. Kubler-Ross in the late 1960s, and they have been found to be true across nationalities and countries and languages. Usually, the first time after a shock or a loss, there is shock and denial. Some people find that they move in and out of that phase by a sense of numbness or isolation. I've had quite a few people complaining of that feeling. There can be pain and sadness with sometimes even a physical ache at what was and is no longer. There can be anger because it's changed things differently and we don't like the changes. Anger can sometimes also present as fear or panic or bargaining even with God. They can be feelings of depression and guilt. And finally, acceptance. Now, acceptance can come as hope, new patterns and routines that then becomes the new normal. But all these stages are not necessarily linear. And we don't necessarily go from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. We can have all those emotions in one day, or we can be stuck for 2 weeks on one specific feeling. Everybody's grieving process is unique to them. I want you to understand that suffering is part of life. If we think of the Bible, it says, you will have trials and tribulations, but be of good cheer, because I have overcome them. So we know that suffering, although it's incredibly unpleasant, has always been and will always be in differing formats. But we have a choice what to do with it. Do we focus on the bad or focus on the good? I want you to think of everything as a coin in life, or every experience as a coin in life. So let's take COVID happens to be a coin we've been given. We can look at the heads or the tail side of the coin. We can focus on the good or the bad. You choose where you're putting your focus. Don't lose what you have right now in the present in wanting what was in the past. You can't get the past back. It's gone. So let's live in the present, focusing on all the things that I do still have and that I am still grateful for. Think for a moment, is what you're doing currently helping yourself or is it harming yourself? Is what your children doing at the moment helping or harming themselves or others? And we need to, once again, I've said it before, do some introspection, become self-aware. That is the first step to emotional intelligence. Be kind to yourself. I'm going to come back to that subject in the next clip. I want you to allow your children to grieve in their unique way. Some, it's silence, and they don't want to talk about things. We need to respect that. For some children, they might isolate themselves and you might be concerned that they're becoming lonely. As long as they don't get stuck there, it could just be them grieving. We know anxious children, we've spoken about that, but angry children is actually just acting out instead of inwards. And we need to help them manage those angry feelings, because a feeling is never, ever wrong. But what we do with our feelings can be wrong. The behavior can most certainly be wrong. But if you acknowledge the child's feeling of anger and frustration at what's happening, just acknowledge it. It's powerful. And then help them find ways to release that energy force. There is no right way to be coping with what's happening presently. So don't expect your way to be everyone's way. We need to allow for individuality. We need to hold each other's feelings with the utmost respect and compassion. We have found that returning to regular schedules and routines helps soothe our brain, because it lets our unconscious know that we are safe again. So rituals, routine, returning to school, the normal routine actually is extremely important in allowing you to go down from that state of fight, flight, or freeze. And there are some helpful ways to help your children through grieving, particularly, and that is with play and arts and crafts. These two ways allow children to communicate without words, to feel in control of certain aspects of their life, to release their emotions through the play, through the arts and crafts, and finally, a form of expressing their thoughts. So really encourage arts, crafts, creativity, and play. And I encourage you as parents to play with your children. Make time to meet them at their point of need. You will see tremendous benefit in them. Thank you.